me tell you something. I knew this dude back in Tickfall named Earl. Looked like a scarecrow that got struck by lightning, right? Earl had this Chihuahua, Pepe, meanest little ankle biter you ever did see. Wouldn't let nobody near Earl, not even Earl's own mama. Bless her heart. She tried to bring Earl a casserole once, and Pepe went straight for the jugular like a furry little piranha. Anyway, Earl used to say Pepe ain't mean, he just protective, just like how them black mamas get when their kids mess up. I'ma count to three, boy. You be out of them woods. And you know they ain't playing, but then you got the white mamas, Lord have mercy, they get fed up too, but it's a different kind of fed up. It's like, I've had it up to here with your insubordination, get in the car, we're going for a ride down by the lake, and the kids are all excited, thinking it's a fun day. Little do they know, mama's got other plans. My own mama, she would never take us for a ride down by the lake, but she'd sure use that story as a threat, scare us straight, saying, y'all keep messing up, I'm gonna take your asses for a ride. And I'd be thinking, mama, you don't even have a car, you go and hitchhike us down there. It's like that Lavelle Crawford joke, good stuff, good stuff. Reminds me of the Mexican-American folks too. They got that same kind of love, that same kind of fire. They love flowers, they love music, they love white girls named Debbie, they love education, going to night school, taking Spanish and getting a B. They don't love getting up early, but they do it anyway, real slow like a turtle in molasses. They love their nanas and nonos and ninas and ninos, nano. But don't you dare call them beaters. Them old cars they drive, they'll kick you in the face faster than you can say Cheech and Chong. Call them beers, even though they drive real slow, goddamn slow. They don't like to be called Peter. You can dress them up, but you can't take them out. That's the truth, man. They name Chata and Sheila and Chima and little Chima and have a son-in-law named Jeff, and they don't like 'em movies where the dude has to wear contact lenses to make his blue eyes brown, 'cause don't make my brown eyes blue. Is it time for the race? They live in Los Angeles, San Diego, San Antonio, San Francisco, and now all over Canada. They just get cold up there. Mexican Americans have been here forever, and we're going to be here forever, and we only want what's fair. Mexican Americans, yeah, man, that's it for now. Thanks for joining us. Now the credits are going to roll. You don't have to stick around, but I do. There's my name. Woohoo, the fifth cameraman is hot. Okay, then I'm done. Can I go now? For crying out loud, what, mommy? It's over. Just like that time Earl's mama tried to give Pepe a treat, and he bit her so hard she needed stitches. Some things just ain't worth the casserole, you know. Man, I swear to God, reminds me of Uncle Hank back in Louisiana. Used to wear a tinfoil hat, said the government was listening through his fillings. Now this fella right here, he's like Uncle Hank, but instead of the government, it's me. Just me and my jokes, right? He's heckling me all night, quieter than a mouse pissing on cotton, front row seat, just for me. Every joke lands flatter than a pancake in a microwave, and he's whispering, "You suck, Theo, you're worse than day-old gas station sushi," and I'm trying to ignore him like a mosquito at a nudist colony, but eventually the dam bursts, you know? I snap like a Slim Jim in a freezer, and I tell him, "Buddy, you're about as useful as a screen door on a submarine," and the whole back of the room, they didn't hear a damn thing. They're all like, "Whoa, Theo, what's gotten into you?" They're siding with him, this dude who looks like he dresses exclusively from the Lost and Found at a bowling alley, and he's just eating it up, smiling like a possum eating a sweet potato. So I lay into him. I mean, I dissect him like a frog in a high school science class, and finally I get something about his haircut, looking like a Lego man after a car accident, and that's it. He's had enough. He storms the stage. This is where it gets good. I'm up on a riser, feeling like friggin' Gandalf holding back the Balrog. He's climbing the stairs, and I give him the nod, the international sign for "you shall not pass," and finally a bouncer shows up, looks like a retired rodeo clown, and escorts him out. Turns out, this dude was dressed head to toe in Star Wars gear from Comic-Con, so naturally I called him a virgin, and that's what finally pushed him over the edge, which I gotta say, maybe I went too far, but hey, sometimes the truth hurts more than a paper cut on your eyeball. Man, I swear, growing up in Tickfall, Louisiana, was like living inside a fortune cookie written by a squirrel on meth. Remember old man Bergeron, who swore he could predict the weather by smelling his elbow? Yeah, well, he also tried to teach me how to hypnotize chickens. Said it was the key to getting rich. Turns out all it got me was a peck in the eyeball and a healthy respect for poultry's ability to resist mind control. Which brings me to this mortgage lender I met at the VFW last night. Looked like he just stepped off the set of Downton Abbey after a particularly rough shrimp boil. Kept saying "I as well" after every sentence, like he was narrating his own impending doom. And let me tell you, the man needed a drink like a catfish needs a crawdad. Kept slurring about another collapse of our time. and how plaid shirts were the only thing holding society together made me think, maybe Bergeron was onto something with those chicken. Maybe they knew the whole damn system was about to go belly up and they were just refusing to cooperate. Maybe that's why the economy's always on the verge of imploding, because we got a bunch of folks making decisions who'd rather be slapping the table and talking about I as well, instead, figuring out how not to bankrupt the whole damn country. So yeah, maybe the next time you're looking for financial advice, skip the banker and go find a chicken. At least you'll get an egg out of the deal. Man, Spokane, it's something, ain't it? Reminds me of my cousin Earl back in Tickfaw, Louisiana. Earl was so slow, bless his heart, he thought a quarterback was just a fancy word for a homeless fella sleeping in a football stadium. But Earl, he had heart, just like this crowd here tonight. Y'all are sticking with me, even though I feel like I'm wrangling a herd of feral cats up here. I swear I went for a run earlier trying to clear my head. Ended up near the bus station, which, let me tell you, is like a meth convention with pigeons. Got my cardio and dodging folks higher than giraffe butts. And this table here, they're giving me the stink eye like I just served them a plate of roadkill possum. I saw them shaking their heads like 9 times. I got a 6th sense for that kind of thing. Maybe they didn't Google, which is my favorite. People show up thinking I'm going to be all Mr. Rogers in a sweater, then bam, dead baby jokes galore. And they're all like, well, this ain't for us. Like they wandered into a cockfight by accident. Who does that? I ain't never gone to a movie blind. Like, whatever's planned. It'll be a spiritual experience. That's wild. And you brought your friends. Like, hey, y'all want to see this comedian I found under a rock? Now your friends are reconsidering the entire French, feeling like they've been dragged to a hog killing after prom night. I'm killing for maybe half this crowd, which statistically makes this the worst audience of the entire weekend. But hey, it's a holiday show. I'm getting paid that sweet, sweet holiday dough, so I can't complain too much. Spokane, bless your hearts. Y'all buy tickets, but then just stare at me like I'm explaining quantum physics to a chicken. You laugh at the pedophile joke, then you get all judgmental. It's a good joke, people. What do you want? For real? What were you expecting? You ain't the best audience member neither, pal, and this ain't even a good crowd, so you're officially the worst of the worst. Congrats. Your husband there, he probably hates that joke too, but I like him better than you, truth be told. I had more fun dodging needles and crazies at the bus station. At least that was a challenge, but honestly, at this point, watching me completely lose my mind on stage is better than the material. How often do you get to see a fella with a Netflix special completely unravel like a cheap sweater at a biker rally? That's something, ain't it? I'm genuinely shocked y'all are still here. I'm actually impressed. Makes me kind of proud. Kind of like watching a 3-legged dog try to win the Kentucky Derby. You ain't gonna win, but damn, you got heart. And sometimes that's all that matters, except maybe a bottle of whiskey and a good cry later tonight. Think I'll go see if Earl's free. All right. Settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. Grew up in Louisiana, right? Small town. Like, if you blink, you miss it. And even when you do see it, you probably wish you missed it. We had this guy, Cletus, lived down the road. Only had one tooth right in the front, like a dang picket fence with a hole in it. Tita swore he could talk to squirrels. Swore. Said they told him secrets about where the best peckins were. Now, Cletus wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but he did have an opinion about everything, just like this lady in the front row here, bless her heart. It reminds me of this whole teacher thing. I was never one to rag on teachers. No, I actually kind of liked them, probably because back then teacher porn was my go-to. Wrecked my after school. Every time my teacher, Miss Crabtree, even looked at me talking about you're in a lot of trouble. I'm thinking she trying to seduce me, not tell my mama I drew on the desk again. And now people ask me, Theo, you watch teacher porn? Well, yeah, but it's got to be the right kind of teacher. Nobody want to see some meathead from Staten Island. No offense to anyone from Staten Island, but you know what I'm talking about. But hey, let me ask you something. You ever look at a student, maybe a year out of high school, and think, maybe. Nah, just me. All right. I'm just saying, there's something about that forbidden fruit, that danger, Like dating a PE teacher, they always walking around in sweatpants, giving you that look, thinking what could be. What am I supposed to say? I'm supposed to say like Staten Island, that's like stepping back into the 1950s. They probably haven't even heard of the Me Too movement yet. But what's the point there? The protection of people like that is almost non-existent. You go there and get eaten alive. Say that those girls will wake up and not even realize how bad they played it off. That or they will be too busy complaining to remember I even said anything. You go there and end up with manic depression, ADHD, just one way to go when people are that far behind, I suppose. All right, folks, let me tell you something. Growing up back in Louisiana, we had this rooster, right? Meanest son of a gun you ever did see. Named him secretary because he pecked at everything, even the postman. Picture that. A rooster hating on official mail delivery makes about as much sense as kale smoothies. Anyway, that rooster was a jerk, just like my luck on the road sometimes. 8 years back, I was a youngin' hitting the sauce a little too hard, stand up in Seattle, trying to woo a girl, but her friend, oh lord, every 30 seconds not interested, then she could do better. Escalating like a bad banjo solo until she drops the bomb. You're very unattractive, and me drunk, I blurt out, get some more Botox, you lizard. Feel bad about that now. Real bad, although truth be told in the moment, nailed it like shooting a crawdad in a barrel. But she got furious. Or at least I think she did. Botox makes it hard to tell. You know? Then her boyfriend pops me one, deserved it, she was his lizard. And I respected the loyalty. Like a hound dog sticking with its owner even if the owner's wearing Crocs, foreshadowing though. A month later, Cleveland, Ohio, LeBron had just left. City felt like everyone had just found out their chew toy had been recalled. Whole dang economic plan hitched to one dude, 'cause I love Cleveland. Good folks met this older woman after the show. Firecracker, but she's with a dude, just a friend. Valentine's Day though, so you know there's tension thick enough to spread on toast. He's buying me drinks to keep tabs. Me being the kind of guy who'd accept free gas even if it came from a skunk's tank, dude. Goes to the bathroom, I ask her if she wants to ditch, she says yes. And my escape plan. The bar next door. Genius. Pure genius, about as subtle as a herd of water buffalo in a library. We're doing making out. Romantic as a truck stop restroom. Finally ask her if she wants to leave, she says your hotel. So we step outside, and there's the dude missing teeth, looking like he'd wrestled a badger for a biscuit and lost. Where the fuck do you think you're going? I admit the plan. Gonna bang her and fly back to New York, he says. Fight me first. Suddenly those teeth looking mighty important. I ain't no dummy, ain't ever had sex and thought, man, glad she ain't got teeth. Like who needs applesauce? I go into the hotel, grab me a Macintosh. I tell him I ain't gonna fight. He calls me a pussy. Then she leaves with him. Some weird arrangement, and then this dude in a white sweatsuit like a marshmallow peep escaped from Easter. Not sittin', not standin', just kinda perched. Loudly announces, I wasn't gonna let anything happen to you, claims he. Police is this. Not a cop but a vigilante. The white knight drunk me's like, hell yeah, this guy's legit with a name, protects downtown Cleveland. Been stabbed twice, does it 'cause he loves Cleveland. Crazy but loyal, like a squirrel trying to bury a nut in concrete. Horrible trade for LeBron, but loyalty, you know? We stroll past the club, he sees my poster, says he could never do comedy. I say I could never do illegal and strange and alarming. A mutual admiration society asks why I don't have a Valentine. I say life choices and career. He says, meet, we're practically twins. Just one wears pajamas and the other tells dick jokes. He walks me back, says he's coming to the show. Exchanges information 'cause you gotta network even with superheroes. Wake up next morning, hangover the size of Texas. White knight email, gotta be him. Don't know that many, says he can't make the show. Sincerely, your new friend and fan, the white knight Joshua. Makes me happy. Jews underrepresented as superheroes. Like finding a vegetarian at a barbecue. Emails bounce back, he's like Batman disappearing into the shadows via email. Years pass, then bam. Another email. White knight subject line. I reply, saw you on Conan, he's still out there. Then comes the kicker. He's married with a kid. Living in the suburbs. Traded white knighting for minivans. And soccer practice. Traitor. I tell him I'm in Naples. He says Italy. I say, yeah, guess even superheroes gotta grow up and face the fact that sometimes the real battle is getting the kids to eat their dang vegetables. Ain't that the truth? Man, you know, growing up in Louisiana, we had this neighbor, Mr. Thibodeau, smelled like catfish and regret. Always said, Theo, son, sometimes it pays to do a damn fool. And I never understood it till I saw my buddy Earl get fired from Bubba's Bait and Beer. See, Earl thought he was slick, thought he was a swamp ninja, kept tasting the inventory, you know, for quality control like he was sommelier or Bud Light. But Bubba, he ain't no dummy. Bubba's got eyes like a hawk and a heart full of diesel, so Bubba calls Earl in, says, Earl, you've been lubricating your tonsils a little too liberally, ain't you? And Earl, bless his pea-picking heart, he says, Bubba, I quit. Like he's sticking it to the man. When Bubba was already halfway to writing him up for stealing beer, reminded me of when I tried to sneak out of Sunday school after the sermon about Noah's Ark. Thought I was being all sneaky like a damn raccoon in a hen house. But Miss Gertrude, bless her soul, she caught me by the ear. Said, where you think you going, Theodore? The good Lord sees everything. Which brings me to this whole thing about guys getting rewarded for being, well, less than stellar. Like this dude I saw online. bragging about quitting his job before they could fire him for, let's just say, unprofessional conduct. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like he's some kind of a modern-day Robin Hood stealing from the less fortunate interns. Reminds me of my cousin Ricky, who dropped out of community college because he said quantum physics was for nerds. Now he's trying to start a gator wrestling business. Says it's the next big thing. People are actually giving him money. Makes you wonder, don't it? Like, are we living in a world where the biggest goofballs get the gold stars? My other buddy's talking about cleaning boats. Claims he's turning his life around, right? Sure you are, but more likely he just ran out of bail money. These hangovers in my early 20s used to feel fun. Now every shot of Jack feels like one step closer to becoming a middle-aged guy who cleans boats and blames his daddy for his problems, dang. Bam! We're just part of the mom package, ain't it? Like, I still get yelled at sometimes. Feels like I'm 8 years old hiding firecrackers for mama. And speaking of things you don't see coming, I got straight up attacked in Burlington, Vermont this year, which is like getting mugged by a yoga instructor, you know. Places like Birkenstocks and kombucha explosions. Everyone's blissed out. I thought I was safer there than in my own refrigerator, honest to God. Bernie Sanders could be the mayor of Niceville. That dude makes me think of when I'm arguing with a woman, because I just know it won't work, but I've just got to lay my ideas on the table regardless. So post-show, I'm chilling with some funny folks, couple of beers, 2 blocks from the venue, when this fella approaches and you can just smell the crazy like a raccoon that's found a can of hairspray. Something ain't right. He glares at me and goes, University of Vermont. I'm like, nope. He says, master's degree? I go, you're colder than a penguin's pecker. Then he shouts, I want to beat the shit out of all of you. But he's eyeballing me like I owe him money. I gave him the once-over. Figured he was all bark and no bite. Like a chihuahua with dentures. Big mistake, because I turn to walk away, and bam, he grabs my shoulder and smashes a pint glass on my dome like he's trying to make some dang glass blown. Turns out I misread the situation. Turns out I'm about as perceptive as a woodpecker looking for a car dealership. Now this dude bolts. Cops get called, and before they even hang up, I'm hollering to the bar, did y'all hear him call me Jew boy? And everyone's like, nah, Theo, we missed that. And suddenly I feel like Jussie Smollett's cousin or something. So they nabbed the guy, wasn't exactly an Olympic sprinter, and they got him crammed in the back of the cruiser. The cops are picking glass out of my hair, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure I was starting to get carded for less. And one of them asked, he smashed a pint glass on your head. I said, could have been a pint. Could have been a whole darn menorah, officer. It all happened faster than a fart in church. All right. Then he's asking if I see spinning, and I'm all like a dreidel partner. It was a rough night. Felt like I was trying to parallel park in a hurricane. Finally, I had to fess up. Wasn't a hate crime, just some feller with a bad case of the stupids. They haul him away, and the bar manager turns to me all serious and says, just so you know, this never happens here. And I'm thinking, yeah, I figured it'd be pretty wild if they were like, oh, that's just Scott. Scott does that. Don't mind him. All right, so I was at this gas station, see, back in Louisiana, and this dude's got like 3 teeth, right? And he's trying to buy a lottery ticket with a handful of nickels. Probably found him in his truck's ashtray, which, let me tell you, is a biohazard zone down there, like a petri dish of regret and a stale beer. And he's arguing with the clerk, this sweet lady with a name tag that said Brenda, future cruise winner, about whether nickels count as legal tender. And I'm thinking, Brenda, just give the man his damn scratch off. It's Tuesday. Anyway, that whole scene just reminded me of this thing I was reading about abortion, right? Which sounds like a wild jump, but stick with me, because it's kind of like trying to explain cryptocurrency to my grandma. She just looks at you like you're speaking in dolphin clicks, but it's all about control, see? See, this dude with the nickels, he wants to control his destiny, even if it's just the fleeting hope of winning enough to finally fix his truck's AC. An abortion, it's about a woman controlling her own destiny, her own body, her own future Brenda Cruz winner situation, you know? It's about more than just the procedure itself. It's about the whole damn swamp of politics and religion and opinions that get slathered on it, like crawfishy toofy on a gas station hot dog. You got folks screaming about life, which I get it, life's precious, but so is freedom and choice and not having to name your baby Bubba Jr. the third. It's like we're all just trying to navigate this crazy world with our handful of nickels, hoping to scratch off a little bit of happiness before Brenda gets to cash in on her cruise and leave us all behind to sweat it out in the parking lot. Wondering if we should have just bought that Slim Jim instead. And that, my friends, is why I think abortion is kind of like a gas station lottery ticket. You might not win, but at least you get to choose whether you want to play. All right. So let me tell you something about growing up in the Bayou. See, we had this pet raccoon, right? Named him Earl because he looked like my Uncle Earl after a crawfish boil, all red-faced and kind of sideways. Anyway, Earl, bless his heart, he was dumber than a box of rocks, but he knew one thing, survival. And that reminds me, I saw this lady up front here sleeping like a possum in a sunbeam, and it just hit me. We're all just trying to survive, ain't we? Like this guy's trying to get his wife a Mai Tai for her birthday, bless his heart, and she's out cold, probably dreaming about saving lives at the hospital because she's a nurse tech, a real-life superhero, you know? And nurses, man, they're like cops. They deserve to unwind, get a little goofy because they see some crazy stuff that would turn your hair white faster than a skunk at a Klan rally. But see, here's the thing, right? Everyone, and I mean everyone, gets a little cranky when they're hungry or sleepy. It's a universal truth, like gravity or the fact that grits are delicious. But my grandma used to say, a fed woman is a happy woman, and that's probably why my grandpa kept a jar of pickled okra in his pocket at all times, in case. So maybe this lady ain't cranky. Maybe she's just waiting for a man to finish telling this story, because let's be honest, a good story is like a warm hug on a cold day, or a perfectly fried catfish sandwich with extra tartar sauce. It just hits the spot, you know? And hey, if a little heckling makes it better, then bring it on, baby, because I'm just here to entertain like a banjo-playing monkey at a county fair. Weird, maybe a little offensive, but you won't forget it anytime soon. Man, I swear, I knew this fella back home, Boudreaux, used to win stuffed animals at the county fair like it was his job. Not because he was good at the games, would know, because he just holler the loudest at the carny folks till they gave him something to shut him up. Kind of like what's going on here tonight, though. I ain't giving nobody no giant stuffed cat unless that claw machine's rigged, like my Uncle Earl's tractor after he had a few too many natty lights, which, come to think of it, might explain some of the medical profession these days, because I'm looking at you, nurse in training, and I ain't saying you ain't going to be a good one, but you remind me of that time I tried to give my dog Roger cough medicine, and he just looked at me like, Theo, what in the Sam Hill are you doing? And then promptly threw it all back up. And that's how I feel right now, like I'm trying to force feed something to someone who ain't hungry. And meanwhile, her poor boyfriend over there is probably wishing he was watching paint dry. 'Cause even that'd be more interesting than listening to me wrangle a drunk heckler who thinks she's got a free pass to the comedy rodeo. But hey, at least she's making money at her job, which, let me tell you, is a miracle in itself these days. Especially with these darn AI robots taking over, it makes you wonder if one day we'll all be replaced by robots who yell louder than Boudreaux at the county fair. And then what's a fellow to do but just sit back and watch the world burn? Or maybe just find a quiet corner and teach Roger some new trick, because at least he ain't going to tell me to go back to jokes. All right, settle down, folks. Let me tell you something. Growing up in Tickfaw, Louisiana, we didn't have fancy stuff like, you know, indoor plumbing that worked all the time, but we had Mama's chickens, bless their pea-sized brains. And one time, this rooster, old Cluck Norris, he was meaner than a junkyard dog with a toothache. Anyway, Cluck Norris decided my head was prime pecking real estate, so I'm running, screaming like a banshee, and Mama's yelling, boy, you gotta assert dominance. Show him who's boss. Now, I ain't never been good at bossing nobody except maybe my goldfish, Bubba, rest his soul, so I figured, all right, I'll try it. I square up to Cluck Norris, puff out my chest like I'm trying to audition for a Chippendale show at the VFW, and yell, I'm the boss. Cluck Norris just stares at me, cocks his head, then bam, pecks me right in the dang eyeball, and I'm thinking, this is exactly how my dating life's been, right? You try to assert yourself, be all confident, and some rooster of a situation just comes along and pecks your eye out. It's like that comedian, what's his name, Sam Burrell? Heard he won some laughing skull thing. Bless his heart, sounds like something you'd find on a backwoods roadkill menu. Anyway, the point is, dating is a train wreck, I swear. Talking to this girl the other night, sipping my bourbon, and I ain't sharing, mind you, bourbon's like sunshine in a bottle. Only tastes like regret the next morning. She says, that'll put hair on your chest. And I'm thinking, dang, gotta make sure I ain't growing no unexpected fur before I get intimate. Like checking the oil in a beat-up Ford pickup, you just gotta know what you're working with, you know? It's a minefield out there, just like that time I kissed this girl at a part, hammered out of my gourd. She says she has a boyfriend, which is bad enough, but then hits me with the double rejection. Even if I didn't, I wouldn't be interested. Lord have mercy, it's like getting rejected from a job, and then the interviewer says, and you're also too ugly for this plant. Brutal, just brutal. But hey, my last girlfriend, bless her heart, she was on Ambien, so I never had to wear a condom, which is either a blessing or a sign. I got to invest in a hazmat suit, depending on how you look at it. See, it's like that dad on the elevator with the crying kids. Should have wore a condom, probably didn't pull out. Now he's at the parent-teacher conference getting lectured. Charlie's been misbehaving. He's just got to shrug and say, it's out of my hands, kind of like Cluck Norris pecking my eye. My own dad, met him 2 years ago, family-style restaurant. Ironic much. Should be broken family-style restaurants, right? You walk in, no waiter, just a note that says he left for cigarettes years ago, and for birthdays, instead of singing, they just whisper, we forgot, sorry, we'll make it up to you. And some random dude walks in and says, I don't even work here, I'm just banging the owner. It makes you wonder, you know? Never played catch with my dad, but we played an epic game of hide and seek. He's still hiding. I guess he's good at it. Saw a homeless couple sleeping in the street once. Sad, ain't it? But hey, at least he has a girlfriend. Hope he ain't hitting her, 'cause that ain't domestic violence. That's a street fight, and street fights, well, they ain't pretty. Dating someone now, I think. She stopped shaving her legs. That's how you know it's serious, right? It's like checking the tread on your tires before a long road trip. Gotta be prepared for anything. She asked me my fantasy the other night. I said, I want you to dress like a nurse and tell me I have health insurance. Yeah, pathetic, I know, but honest. The other night, things got wild. She said, fuck me like it's your job. So I started checking my email, seeing when I could clock out. She wasn't impressed. And let's be honest, I keep inside it's going way too long. Like texting my friend Dan, do you want to suck my penis? Only funny to me and Dan, my girlfriend? Not so much. Sent it to her by accident. Awkward Thanksgiving dinner to say the least. I miss being single sometimes, especially dating black chicks. But, you know, that's a whole different sermon. And the N-word, well, white people created it. Black people get to use it, kind of like Magnum condoms, big and intimidating, but not always necessary. Subway story. Last one, I swear, with a girl I was dating, pervert gets on, starts touching himself. She wants me to fight him. I'm thinking, I don't want to get hit with that hand, but she pushes me. I say, excuse me, sir, could you stop that? He says, I wasn't doing that to your girlfriend. I was doing that to you. And I'm right back to that feeling of Cluck Norris pecking my eye. You just never know what kind of rooster's going to come at you in this world, do you? Man, this year's been like one long slip and slide fueled by lukewarm natty light and regret, you know? Went to this joint last felt like walking into a therapy session disguised as happy hour, some fella nurse in a blue moon, 2 orange slices dangling like sad little Christmas ornaments. And I'm thinking, buddy, you ain't got a problem. You got a brunch order. I'm chasing the dragon with Hennessy, talking to this Kroger employee. Guy sounds like he's fighting off existential dread between aisle 5 and the frozen pizzas. And I picture him answering the phone, some lady yelling about a busted can opener, and he's got to be like, hold on, ma'am. Let me just snort a line and crack open a blue moon because Kroger's testing my will to live today. But hey, ain't we all in customer service in some way? A doctor's just selling you a few more laps on the carousel. I'm here slinging jokes like day-old donuts. And even that raccoon rummaging through your trash is providing a service. Just a real niche market, see? We're all just trying to keep the lights on. One awkward human interaction and questionable beverage at a time. And if that ain't beautiful, I don't know what is. Maybe except a field of blooming onions. Those things are miracles of engineering and probably unionized. I was at this Cracker Barrel down in Tickfall, Louisiana, right? Getting me some chicken and dumplings, you know, the real kind that'll clog your arteries faster than a 99 Ford pickup truck with a busted oil pan. And this dude, he's straight up sawing logs in the middle of the show. Just flat out knocked. Drool and all. I'm thinking, man, I can't even sleep at home. Got this $300 pillow that feels like a brick. And this fella's out cold in a public theater. Like he's in his own personal sensory deprivation tank sponsored by NyQuil. Reminds me of my uncle, Earl. He used to fall asleep during Thanksgiving dinner face first in the cranberry sauce. Anyway, nobody touching him. No, sir, not on my watch. Louis C.K. probably wish he could be here to shine to see how he can get away with something on the borderline, but not fully illegal. But the dude, Miguel's his name, 25 years old, working construction. Now, usually that's where I'd launch into the old Mexicans taking our jobs routine, but then I find out he's working in the office construction. I never heard that. That makes him getting replaced by a Chinese or a robot, just straight up AI taking over the whole damn operation. But his boys, they covered for him. Said he was up all night arguing with his girlfriend. Probably about some high-stakes Scrabble match or who gets to pick the next song on the jukebox. He bought his ticket himself and he is using it. You know, I haven't slept like that since I was a kid. And the only way I could do that was by going to the church on Sunday. And I know the dude shit in the stalls without any worry. And sleeps right in front of Jesus on Sunday. But I'm thinking, here's this dude, Miguel, living the dream, unconscious and carefree, while I'm up here battling insomnia like it's a goddamn UFC fight. We even dimmed the lights, played some spooky music, felt like a damn exorcism was about to go down, except the demon was just exhaustion. I even yelled, La Policia. Miguel didn't even flinch. I swear he could have been in a coma for 8 years, slumps on his 4th term, and he'd still be snoozing. He wakes up, and I thought he was dead, and he didn't remember anything. I asked, what was your favorite part? And he said, it's over, and now it's Saturday. Turns out the dude does both residential and commercial construction, the whole damn shebang. 25 years old, and worn out already. What's he going to be like when he hits 40? A human-shaped pile of dust held together by duct tape and caffeine. Still, he gave me an idea. Maybe I should start sleeping in public. Get some of that sweet, sweet Miguel level unconsciousness. Maybe even go to church, face Jesus, and shit in a stall like him. Who knows, might just cure my insomnia or at least give me some good material for the next show, but he is not worried about shitting and sleeping in public. So, you know, I was talking to my buddy Earl the other day. Earl's got this pet raccoon named Stinky. Swears it can predict the weather anyhow. We were jawing about comedians, right? Like, who'd be good to run for, something, anything really, maybe even head of the homeowners association. The names they threw out, bless their cotton socks, Jon Stewart, sure. Makes sense, smart fella. Always got something to say. But then, bam, Bill Cosby out of left field. I mean, dang it, it's like suggesting your grandma for an MMA fight. Said something like, get him out of jail. Which, last I checked, Cosby's either too old or they already let him out. Maybe he's touring retirement homes with a Jell-O pudding show, who knows. I even saw Cosby do stand-up at a Jon Stewart benefit thing once. Wounded Warrior Project, you know, before the whole pudding pop parade went south. And let me tell you, that act was darker than a black bear's armpit on a moonless less. I'm talking deep, unsettling. You're waiting for the punchline, but it just keeps getting more existential, like watching a squirrel try to bury a nut in concrete. Now, I ain't remember the specifics, something about cough syrup and airplane food, or maybe it was the other way around. It was before the accusations, you know, like ancient history, so we were all kind of, sure, Bill, knock yourself out, thinking it was just regular old comedy, but now, looking back, that performance was a straight-up cry for help disguised as a Jell-O joke. And that's the thing about comedy, ain't it? It's like a canary in a coal mine. You can sense when someone's in a dark place. Kind of like Earl's raccoon Stinky when it starts hiding all the shiny objects. Right before a tornado, just a little unsettling feeling deep down in your gut that something's about to go sideways. All right. So, listen, I was back home in Louisiana last summer, right? Visiting my mama, bless her heart. She's got this Chihuahua named Killer. Thinks he's a dang Rottweiler. Always nipping at my ankles. Makes you want to punt him into next Tuesday. Anyway, Mama's watching this award show, and they're giving some dude an award. I think it was for selling insurance or something, but it got me thinking about Kevin Hart. Yeah, Kevin Hart. That little dude with the big heart. Ain't that a country song title? Wait, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Kevin. See, there's guys out there like Jerry Seinfeld. Great dudes, funny as all get out, wearing the crown of comedy, and let me tell you, that crown ain't no Burger King paper hat. It's heavy, man, like Mama's cast iron skillet after she's cooked a whole mess of catfish, you know? But Kevin, he wears it like a ball cap backwards, like he's still running the bases. And that dude, he sold 500 million tickets. That's more than people at a Walmart on Black Friday. I tell you what, that's biblical. That's Noah's Ark full of people watching him. And I check because that's how I do. I get my facts straight like a Baptist preacher, and he ain't just funny. He's a good dude, helps people out, goes back to Philly, which, let's be honest, takes guts. It's like wrestling a gator, you know, but he does it, and he probably feels like trash sometimes. We all do. Like that time I ate a whole bag of gas station sushi, but you'd never know it. Never see him fate. See, I wish he was there when I got my dang trophy. He's one of the greatest men I've ever met. It's like, I'm honored to know him, like meeting Dolly Parton, only funnier and with better abs, probably. And that's the truth. Even if it is like a fever dream after a crawfish boil. Man, I remember back home, Shreveport, Louisiana, we had this cat, Cletus, that looked just like a possum wearing a MAGA hat, always yelling about the government. Cletus, bless his heart, thought fluoride in the water was a conspiracy to turn us all into frogs. Frogs, I tell you. And it reminds me of something Shane Gillis said, right? Gillis, that's a name that rings like a rusty old church bell, you know? He had this joke darker than my mama's burnt gumbo about Trump getting shot. Now, I ain't wishing no harm on nobody except maybe mosquitoes and telemarketers. But Gillis painted this picture, see, Trump standing there, mouth running faster than a coon dog after a squirrel, probably bragging about his golf score, then bam, out of nowhere, just goes, like a busted lawnmower. And that's the kind of humor that sticks to your ribs like gravy on a biscuit. It's wrong, but it's funny, like seeing a squirrel wearing underpants. But then Gillis, that wild card, throws Biden in the mix, saying he's so out of it, you could just walk up and boop, tap him on the nose, no security guard even bat an eye, just Mr. President, how the hell are ya? Like, he's a stray dog you just met. It's like, dang, that's savage, almost like comparing a Ferrari to a horse-drawn buggy. Ain't saying it's right, ain't saying it's wrong, just saying it's something. Makes you think, you know? Makes you think about how weird this whole dang world is, kind of like seeing a cat driving a tractor, pure chaos. Man, let me tell you something. Growing up in Louisiana, we had this neighbor, Mr. Thibodeau, smelled like catfish bait and regret, always wearing a wife beater, even to church, right? Anyway, old Thibodeau, he thought he was a comedian, told jokes that would make a scarecrow blush, but he had this one about a crawfish walking into a bar. Nah, I ain't telling it. It's terrible. But it reminds me, people are getting so touchy these days. Like, my country's going plumb crazy. You know, Bryan Cranston, that Breaking Bad dude, he played a paralyzed fella in a movie and folks got all riled up saying, why ain't a real paralyzed dude playing it? Like, hello, it's called AC Techting, you dummies. Imagine a paralyzed dude trying to act paralyzed. That's just being still and reading lines. That ain't no performance. Reminds me of my buddy Bill. He's been doing all right for himself, you know? He was in this Pete Davidson movie. He says he didn't get fired, could get cut. You never know, but seems like it went great. First time getting to work with Judd Apatow for real, not just on Pete's show, Crashing, which, by the way, folks should check out next June. Get this, Bill's doing Mandalorian, the Star Wars thing, which is nuts because he's a sports fan. Meathead barely knows what a lightsaber is. I'm like, Bill, you in Star Wars. You know what that's like? It's like when Joe DeRosa met Joe Torre, told me about this guy connected with the Yankees, the manager, Joe Tutelage. I corrected him. It's Torre, and he's all, is he a big guy? Does he make that face? I wanted to strangle him. He just wanted to go buy vintage shirts. So I told Bill, this here payback for me meeting Joe Torre. Now you got to wear a spacesuit that probably smells like Wookiee armpits, says he can't say much about it, all that Netflix secrecy, but you can see the back of his bald head in the trailer for half a second. That's because his head is a helmet already. Redundant to put a hat on a hat, like a clown wearing a second wig. That's how busy he is. He's finishing up season 4 of F is for Family, but stand-up's always #1, and he's always been generous, you know. Even when I was a nobody at the Comedy Store, he'd watch my sets, give me punchline tips. Always believed in me, even when I was getting booked on TV shows and forgetting about my own hour, he saw something in me. Cool vibe and knows how to unleash the craze, not like those guys who just yell and stay loud too long. Nah, Bill knows how to blow them back in their seats, then bring them back down smooth. It's a gift. I brought his name up the store, told everyone he's one of the nicest guys, and he came out and was like, you got to say that? I'm about to rant about people in wheelchairs. That means a lot. Being a newer comic, it's intimidating. But people did it for him, he remembers. Like Dave Chappelle told him something funny back in the early 2000s. He held on to that like a life raft in the comedy condos and hell rooms for years. Dave thinks I'm funny, he'd tell himself, kept him going. Even in the green room broom closets on the road, Bill said he was funny, carried him through those weekends. When you start out, you're lost, no confirmation, no roadmap, just looking around, seeing what other guys are doing, thinking you got to do the same, ping-ponging from one style to the next. Joe Kai comes in with a street team. Next thing you know, you're thinking you need a street team too, but it was just telling stories back at Nick's Comedy Stop, driving back in from Boston, finding the nearest comic, telling a story, getting a laugh, hearing the older guys telling their stories, wanting to have some yourself, something better than just a bad open mic. And then getting out on the road, hearing your friends suffer. That's where the comedy comes from. So remember, folks, go watch Bill Burr's special Paper Tiger on Netflix. Check out his tour dates at billburr.com. Listen to his Monday morning podcast, one of the best out there. And then maybe, just maybe, go call that weird neighbor you had growing up and tell him their jokes ain't that bad after all. Because honestly, folks, sometimes it's the Thibodeaus of the world that remind us what's truly funny, just like the time he tried to put a hat on a crawfish. Nah, I still can't tell you that one. It's just too dang awful. All right, so I was at this Waffle House down in Tickfaw, Louisiana, right? Place smells like regret and burnt coffee. You know the vibe. And this lady, bless her heart, she orders the most expensive thing on the menu. It's like a lobster omelet with a side of gold flakes or something. I don't know, something ridiculous. And I'm thinking, man, this is Waffle House, not the goddamn Ritz. It's like bringing a Ferrari to a monster truck rally. Reminds me of this one time my cousin Earl tried to impress this girl by taking her to the fanciest burger joint in Ponchatoula. Spent his whole paycheck, and she ended up leaving with the dude driving a tractor. Turns out she was into that farm to table lifestyle, literally. And you know, these waiters, they got to give you that little head nod that, are you sure you can afford this look, like they're protecting your bank account from yourself. Which got me thinking about women complaining about relationships. Always picking the wrong dudes. It's like ordering a steak and lobster when you know you're on a damn McDonald's budget, you know? If you keep attracting ain't shit dudes, maybe, just maybe, there's something about your pussy that's broadcasting easy signal, like a moth to a busted ass porch light. It's time to take some responsibility, ladies, because no one want to hear complaints about this. It just feels like Michael Jackson being poor. You know, imagine MJ growing up in the projects, him and Tito riding around in a Cadillac looking for bad girls, Michael's on crack, and now suddenly get that the police, they didn't protect the black people, which it feels like an old Timex commercial for them, but it is all right if the brother gets paid like Ike Turner did as the king of the Wolverbeater before O.J. Simpson taking that crown. But when O.J. was innocent in the eyes of Johnny Cochran, those white people who couldn't sleep because of the verdict, it's like black people getting insomnia since the slavery. Now you hear something like that, you just want to yell out, fuck the police, while driving 300 miles an hour in a Volkswagen because Lorena Bobbitt cutting off her husband's member, driving down the freeway and throwing it out the window is justice too, and with the LA Police Department searching for OJ. Simpson, you're thinking it is the justice system that is not working. It's all connected, man, like dominoes falling after a crawfish boil. All right, so let me tell y'all something. Right back in Louisiana, we had this one rooster. Okay. Real mean fella. Name him Dr. Phil, because he'd peck at you and then act like he was giving you advice. He didn't ask for, you know. Anyway, reminds me, I went to the doctor the other day just for a checkup, figuring I'd get the usual, you're fine, except maybe lay off the boudin. But this ain't no regular doctor. This dude's like if Dr. Phil, the rooster went to medical school and failed out, but they still gave him a lab coat. And I'm talking walked in, didn't say howdy, didn't say bless your heart, just pointed at my head and says, you want something for that hair? Like I'm growing a chia pet on my scalp that nobody told me was dying. Then slams my chart open, makes this whoosh sound like he just opened the gates of hell and goes, wow, like I just confessed to eating a whole family-sized bag of Doritos in one sit-in, which, all right, maybe I did, but that's between me and the good Lord. Then he's all 200, not exactly weight loss, like I'm trying out for the goddamn Olympics of skinny. I mean, I'm a huggable fella. All right. So then he starts on my blood work, says my muscle enzymes are through the roof. And I'm thinking, hell yeah, I'm strong as a gator wrestling a pickup truck, but he tells me that's bad. Only explanations are Olympic athlete or a cocaine addict. Now, I ain't never touched the devil's dandruff, but this fella looks at me like I'm Tony Montana in overalls. And when the nurse chimes in suggesting marathons, he just looks at me up and down like I'm a busted lawnmower, no sympathy. I swear I felt like a prize pig at the state fair, just waiting to get judged. Then out of nowhere, he asks if I'm married, and when I say yes, he's all to a guy. Like I gotta explain my love life to this dude poking and prodding at me, writes gay. On my chart, I mean, what in the sweet tea hell is going on? My wife asked if I'll go back. I said absolutely. He's the funniest doctor I've ever met. I mean, I just have to go back and show him my real muscle, the one that opens a jar of pickles after 3 days in the fridge. All right. West Palm Beach, or is it Palm Beach? Either way, it's hot. Just like that time my Uncle Buster tried to deep fry watermelon at the county fair. Total disaster. Speaking of disasters, someone back there yelled pressure, but they don't even know why. What in the tarnation? It's like asking a goat to explain quantum physics. Ain't gonna happen, folks. You know, I once asked my Aunt Shirley what the capital of Nebraska was, and she said tractors. True story. But this woman, she's right up there with Shirley, bless her heart. Big Latino fellow over here, though, looking sharp. Oscar, they call him. Probably gets all the Cuban votes just by going up, head held high like a pelican looking for a stray fish. 6'3", built like a brick outhouse, as my grandpa used to say. And that hair looks like it was sculpted by Michelangelo himself out of Lego bricks. Poor bald guy next to him is probably ready to throw his dentures at the stage. Now this woman, she's with Oscar, his girlfriend, at 28. Honey, back in my neck of the woods, you ain't married by 28. They start whispering at you like you got a third eye or something. But she's Colombian, different rules apply. It's like comparing a possum to a raccoon, and then they both dig in the trash, but they got their own ways. Yeah, Colombians, they got arepas, right? That's it's just a claim to fame. Oh, and that sniff? No, that ain't what you thinking, folks. Probably just a stray pollen particle from one of those fancy Colombian flowers, making them look like they're auditioning for a role in Scarface. Speaking of faces, this woman, the one who knows everything now, suddenly an expert, like she just downloaded the entire internet into her brain while we were talking about watermelons and bald guys. But I bet she didn't know they got fake noses over there. Probably hollowed out on the inside to fit all the extra memories, or maybe just to snort arepa seasoning more efficiently. I don't know. I'm just a country boy trying to make sense of it all, one bizarre observation at a time. Man, let me tell you something. Growing up in Louisiana, we had this fella, Bobby Ray, could talk the chrome off a trailer hitch, bless his heart. You date him the time, and 3 hours later, you're learning about his hernia operation and the squirrel he saw burying nuts that one time. Anyway, it got me thinking about talkers. See, I ain't talking about the ones who just like to yap. I mean, the long talkers. You ever notice they always got to lean on something? Like they're powered by conversation, and if they stop, they just collapse like a busted waterbed filled with lukewarm chitlins. I avoid them like the plague, like church on a Sunday morning. But then it hit me, kind of like that time I accidentally ate a wasp. Thinking it was a raisin. Comics. We're all kind of long talkers, ain't we? Especially when we go about our heroes. I was talking to Eddie Murphy once. Eddie Murphy, and I told him, Eddie, you're a big reason I'm up here sweating like a sinner in church. He just chuckled, that Eddie Murphy chuckle, and it made me think, what if I told people it was dice clay, the looks I would get? Anyway, I asked Eddie why he ain't been back on stage, Mets, and he said something that stuck with me. He said it's like cold water. So he set the bar so dang high. Expectations are like that time I saw a raccoon try to climb a greased telephone pole. Ain't happening. And it's true, We see these comics, these giants, cutting it up like a Thanksgiving turkey, and we think, how'd they get there? Probably crawled on their belly, one bad joke at a time. I had my lumps, let me tell you. Back when I was Jerry, age 22, 24, something like that, got a $25,000 deal. I thought I was King Tut, called my brother, bless his heart, and I said, brother, we get mom a house, dad a house, you a house. Dad gets that truck he's always wanted. We set. Money, gone. IRS knocking like a woodpecker on a crackhead's front door. Had to tell Dad, sorry about that house, Paw. 9 people living in that dang thing, but what you gonna do? Point is, in comedy, we ain't got many chances. That was grinding for 13 years, grinding like a stripper working off her student loans. In the last 4 or 5, been on the upswing. Reminds me of that musical, Little Shop of Horrors. TV's kind of like that plant, ain't it? One of us is getting eaten. Either you eat the box or the box eats you. That show was getting hungry, had to bounce. But, that conversation with Eddie, good as it was, reminds me of the best conversation I ever had. It was with my dad ending to me why you had to do drugs. Said everybody was doing it, son. Your Aunt Brenda, your Uncle Earl, hearing him say that, seeing that truth in his eyes, that was something else. It was like watching a caterpillar turn into a rusty butterfly, a reminder that even in the darkest corners, there's a twisted kind of beauty like a possum wearing a tiny hat. So I was down in Loringer, Louisiana, right? Now that's a place where the possums wear tuxedos to the Piggly Wiggly, okay? My buddy Earl. Earl's got this cousin, Cletus, who runs an escape room out of his double wide, only it weren't no mall kind of thing, see? It's more like if Deliverance met Home Alone after a case of Natty Light. Anyway, Cletus gets this idea from watching one of those police shows. All of a sudden, he is an expert, so he has to start his own business. He is also so big-headed, and that is where the problems begins. My Aunt Brenda is there along with the kids, you see? We pull up to Cletus's, and it's got this vibe like a meth lab that just lost its lease. That is for sure My Aunt Brenda is like, oh, heck no. But the kids are screaming about fun, so we go in. Now Cletus opens the door wearing a bathrobe and a shower cap, looking like a Baptist preacher's wife after a rough night. First thing he asks is, have y'all seen my chihuahua, Pepito? And my uncle, never one to miss an opportunity, yells, tell Pepito to go get rocks. And then he spits a dip of tobacco onto the porch. This is where the bad began. Cletus ain't phased. He just smiles with his one tooth looking like a tombstone in a pumpkin patch and says, come on in, but leave your wallets and phones in the microwave for the safety. We should have never left our phones. It all went downhill. The kids went full-on sheep. They did not care about safety. Now, Cletus then starts explaining the rules in a low voice like he is about to sell drugs in the middle of the sate. My uncle is all over him, asking about Cletus's mother and why she ain't around. My Aunt Brenda is yelling, and I swear it was like watching a squirrel try to parallel park in the middle of the interstate, chaotic but entertaining. Then came the mother's room part, and that's where it got weird, like a banjo solo at a funeral. Weird. Now, Cletus says we got to leave our car keys, our L phones, our wallets, everything on the counter, which should have been our first clue to just leave. We were all standing there quiet, and my uncle said, did you hear me, Pepito? Go kick rocks. That is when Cletus said, the rules are the rules. It is the escape room. So we all dumbly followed Cletus into the room. And the moment the door slammed shut behind us, it hit me. No waivers, no contact information, just a sketchy guy and a locked door. It was the type of feeling when you accidentally drop a hot dog on the floor in the middle of a church event. Right then, I knew that Cletus had no clue what was going on. My uncle, he says, well, I reckon we're going to be working in a possum farm in Oklahoma by sundown before he starts yelling, Pepito, kick rocks. Because, heck, at that point, a possum farm seemed to that reasonable career choice compared to what Cletus might have had in store. I just know this is where the problem begins. Then my aunt yells, why did we come? I am out. Which she said was the punchline to the whole thing. Man, tell you something, I'm dating this gal, right? Think we're serious? She ain't shaving her legs no more like Sasquatch down there. She bought herself one of them buzzing gizmos. Meanwhile, I got an Xbox, so, we spend less time together. I'm slinging digital sweat in NBA 2K. She's exploring the Mariana Trench solo, but bottom line, we're both thinking about LeBron, which is weird, right? Women, man, there's something else, faking the big O like it's nothing, but can't fake being happy at Thanksgiving dinner with the in-laws. Come on, smile for grandma. Every time we get busy, she's all, you made me come, like I'm freaking David Copperfield or something. And I'm like, well, I was mostly just laying there, but all right, I'll take the credit. It's like I go to the barber shop, tell him, just hold the clippers still, rub them on my head like a love-starved Siamese, and then act surprised when I walk out looking like Brad Pitt. And this ain't no fling. I'm on the road. Gotta be faithful, folks. Ask Theo how you do it. All them temptations. My secret? Ain't a single woman ever even looked at me sideways. That's how I stay faithful. It's a daily struggle, a constant battle against nothing. I'm on a plane, hot tamale walks my way, and I'm praying, please, Lord, let her sit next to anyone but me. She does, silence for 3 hours, and I'm feeling like Gandhi by the time we land. Like I just won a Nobel Peace Prize for being utterly ignored. Used to hit up strip clubs, Now I'm on a quest, want to be a mentor, a good influence. Tried to join Big Brothers. They wouldn't let me near a kid. Messed up the interview real good. They ask, what's a bad example of a big brother? And my dumbass says, child molester lady looks like I just kicked her puppy. She meant impatient. And I thought we were playing for keeps. They ask what I bring to the table. I say patience, which is the opposite of pedophilia, folks. The willingness to wait. That's a joke. Dark as my Uncle Earl's moonshine, but structurally sound. Worth a chuckle. Gotta laugh at the messed up stuff. Keeps you from going completely bonkers. This past few weeks, news been wild. Remember that little feller got chomped by a gator at Disney World? Seemed like the highlight of the year, didn't it? ISIS even tried to claim responsibility. That's when you know things are truly sideways. Alligators working for the bad guys, Lord have mercy. Speaking of scary, Delta Airlines, I despise them. Except for them Biscoff cookies. Them are good, damn good, dunk 'em in coffee. Eat 'em plain, versatile little biscuits. Reminds me of Biscotti, all pretentious. Like Chips Ahoy went to Europe for a summer Delta, though. They stole 20,000 miles from me. Hard-earned miles from flying coach and catching the herp from the armrest. I call, lady on the phone says, we don't do complaints no more. You got to email and it'll take 6 months, 6 months. She might as well spit in my face. Then she adds, also, your mom is a, well, she didn't say that exactly, but that's how her words made me feel. See, that's therapy. You can say whatever you want as long as it's how you feel. I tell my girl, I ain't calling you crazy, honey. I'm just saying, based on your actions, you'd fit right in at the funny farm. It's insensitive if you disregard my feelings. That's what I'm saying. Get transferred to another lady at Delta. Worse than the first says my miles are from 2010. They didn't start keeping track till 2011. Sorry, with an AZ at the end. The most insincere of all apologies. That's the kind of sorry you give when you're standing over a body at a funeral. And I'm all, this ain't fair, she says. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I say, I feel like you're being condescending. And she asks, who am I? And I'm not proud of what I said next. I said, I hope you die in a fire. I'm just reporting the facts, trying to be honest. In my defense, I didn't say, I hope I kill you in a fire. Just said, I hope. Better world type thing. Maybe a treatable form of cancer would be fair. You know, treatable. I ain't a monster. She shows up to the hospital. They say, your insurance ran out in 2010, so sorry. And I'm like, well, karma's a Biscoff cookie, ain't it? Man, growing up in Loranger, Louisiana, felt like living inside a dryer lid trap. You know, just constant spinning, static, and the occasional lost sock of sanity. Reminds me of this one time my cousin Earl thought he saw Bigfoot near the Piggly Wiggly. Turned out it was just a meth head wearing a gorilla suit. He stole from the Halloween store, but that's small town life. Things get real strange real quick. It's like Earl would have been a perfect witness on that show on A&E where they chase down killers in the first 2 days after a murder, because after that, apparently, the case gets colder than my ex-wife's heart. They're like, it's old news now, which is wild, because you'd think solving a murder would be a little more important than figuring out what's on the dollar menu. I'm fascinated by how many folks see a murder happen. Like, I always pictured murders happening in the shadows, behind a dumpster, but these people are front row seats. Like, yeah, I saw the whole thing. He was about 5'2" to 6'8", something like that. And the cops are like, that's the best you got? And they're like, he had ears too. And they still draw a sketch, and it looks like a Picasso painting gone wrong. Then they show it around, and nobody knows who it is. Until some dude is like, yeah, that's Cricket. Been knowing Cricket for 27 years. And the cops are like, what's his real name? And the guy is all, just Cricket, like he was birthed with that name. I swear, it's always some dude in a wife beater, dirty hat, cigarette, hanging out his mouth. Looks 33, but is actually 76, talking super aggressive to the cops. I've been out here for a minute, and the cops just sigh. Then they cut to the whitest detective, who looks like he just walked out of a Ale Bean catalog, and was like, I don't think he's going to be much help, like he expected Shakespeare from a guy named Cricket. The best part of that show, though, is the interrogation. It's like, you want drama? Try questioning someone about taking another human life. The stakes are higher than a giraffe on stilts. But these detectives, bless their hearts, insist on using the suspect's street name, so it turns into a cartoon. They're like, your life's on the line, Lil Stank. Did you know Dookie Shoes? And the guy's like, I don't know no Dookie Shoes. Then they show him a picture, and he's all, I seen him around. And then they throw one little piece of evidence at him, like, Numin said you were at the 7-Eleven last week. And suddenly he's confessing to everything. Yeah, I shot him in the face like a damn pressure cooker. It's like, dude, you can't lie for 10 minutes. You can kill a man, but you can't outsmart a detective for a coffee break's worth of time. That's why if you're ever in that situation, lawyer up, man. Don't try to be a hero, because I've seen 300 people get interrogated on that show, and only 2 asked for a lawyer. Mm-hmm. And both times the detectives looked like they'd just been handed a flat tire, and at the end of the episode there was text on the screen that read, all charges against Tayshawn were dropped, or let's be real, there's never any Jims on that show. Ain't never heard no detective go, hey Bryce, where were you last Friday? I was over at Tanner's house, sorry bro. Nah, man, it's always someone with a name that sounds like it came straight out of a Wu-Tang Clan album. All the Bryces are out there baking cookies and not ending up on A&E. All right, settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something, my cousin Ricky, bless his heart, he used to try and catch squirrels with a butterfly net, right? Butterfly net said he was going to train him to pull a little wagon like a gosh darn miniature Clydesdale team. And I'm sitting there thinking, Ricky, you're about as likely to train a squirrel as you are to teach a possum to play the banjo. But hey, that's Ricky. Reminds me, people laugh at folks' imperfections, their little stumbles and bumbles, you know, physical flaws, things you can see plain as day. And yeah, it's funny sometimes, like when I tried to wear Crocs to a wedding. Hilarious. Disabilities, that's a whole different ball game, ain't it? Most ain't funny, especially the ones that end up on quilts or those 10K runs. Those are straight up tough, no joke about it. But then you got these weird situations, these curveballs life throws you, and you got to ask yourself, is that funny? And let me tell you, I got 3 examples that'll have you question your entire existence. First, foreign accent syndrome. You hear about it? Folks get bonked on the head, bad car wreck or something, wake up talking like they're from freaking Belgium. It's not funny, the head bonk part, but the accent? Oh, brother. And try not to giggle when you see a fellow from Alabama suddenly sounding like he's running a trattoria in Naples, saying something like, the tractor, she's no working no more. If that ain't funny to you, you need to check your pulse, friend. But the real kicker, British lady never left her town for 33 years, gets in an accident, wakes up talking with a Chinese accent. Chinese? Suddenly she's all, hello, I have no conversated with you over many moons. You want a cup of tea? Do you hear what I'm saying? Tell me there ain't a god with a seriously twisted sense of humor. And don't get all woke on me, it's a white lady. It's like she ordered the wrong accent on Amazon. But look, that British lady, she can say what she wants, maybe even start offering happy endings with that tea. Who knows? All right. If you're still stone-faced, how about this? Persistent genital arousal disorder? Basically nonstop, you know. Every 90 seconds. Imagine trying to hold down a job like that. Trying to sell someone a used car. This baby's got low mileage. Bam. Or getting groceries. They can't get any peace, any calm. It's just a mess. Sis, can I try on this shirt? Forget the shirt. I need new pants. And some poor soul's got both those afflictions. Can you imagine? Sorry to hear about your dad passing away. Ooh, that feels good. I just made that up. Maybe not funny to you, but I'm rolling with it. Still not convinced? Tourette's. My 5th grade Catholic school. New kid walk in on a Wednesday mass day. Priest starts, in the name of the Father. Kid, infant yells, fuck your cunt. Silence. Priest keeps going, Holy Spirit. Kid again, lick my balls. Fuck you. I'm dying. Trying not to explode. Kid next to me whispers, he's got Tourette's. It gets old. I never got old. Best 3 years of my life. Especially the substitute teacher. They didn't warn her it was biblical. Saw a 10-year-old shatter a grown woman's spirit. Poor lady walks in, read chapter 3, tick starts building. She's like, what's going on? He starts painting his own shirt with markers every day. She didn't know. Then he does his face. She's like, stop that. He goes, you bitch, fuck you. She's breaking down. What's happening? We're like, that's Kevin. Why are you crying so much right now? She died inside, quit teaching, but she's fine, you know? Probably selling candles on Etsy now, telling folks the scents are inspired by inner peace. The important thing is just look for the joy, or at least try to find the humor even when it's dark. It's a midnight deer stand or something. Man, reminds me of when I was a kid back in Louisiana. I used to trap muskrats with my cousin, Bobby Lee. He always had the craziest ideas. Like, one time he thought he could train him to fetch beer from the fridge. Didn't work out, but it always felt like we were Chip and Dale, just trying to survive in the swamp, you know? Speaking of Chip and Dale, that reminds me of bathrooms. And I got to tell you, I had a toilet flush in my house yesterday. Sounded like someone was singing happy birthday. I swear I thought a ghost was throwing a party in the pipes. It was spooky, I tell you, but not as spooky as having to tell your date that the only way out of the bathroom is through the... Well, you get the picture, right? It's like that scene in Rescue Rangers where they got to go down the toilet. Live a little, they say, and you know, sometimes life's like that. You got to just jump in the porcelain. Metaphorically speaking, of course, like how Disney's premiere is next door and they're inviting everyone, which is just like Bobby Lee inviting all the raccoons to our crawfish boil. Utter chaos. Anyway, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, Disney Plus, Friday, no theaters, which is a real shame because imagine watching that on the big screen. Feels a little like watching it in a bathroom. Kinda immersive, right? But hey, at least Cheryl Hines is going to be there. Probably not in a toilet, though. But hey, at least it's not in theaters, because you know what that means? I don't have to take off my house shoes. Now ain't that something?